I have a lot of miniatures, and I've got quite the extensive backlog of based and primed models in one of my cabinets that are just sort of leftovers from previous projects or stuff I wanted to do at some point but haven't actually gotten around to yet. And I've decided I'm gonna get those done. Last week I painted 2 dogs that were on my painting desk for like 2 weeks. After I painted this dog in a previous video, I sort of got inspired to paint these dogs up as well to go along with them. Because 3 dogs is better than 1 dog, obviously, and now I can use those for like encounters in D&D or like a little narrative scenario in some skirmish games or whatever. You know, it's just nice to have 3 dogs that I can use as like warhounds or something. Another model I had painted previously on the channel is this Longsnout Orc. I really fell in love with these sculpts. I think they are amazing and they're modular, and I put together quite a few of these orcs, but I only painted the one for the video, and so the other ones have just been sitting in my cabinet this whole time. And so we're gonna get those finished today. Hopefully, maybe this week. In the next couple of days for sure. I'm excited to paint some greenskins. Let's do this. But first, a little dice update. I've been hard at work making some new dice, and I actually went and upgraded my really bad soldering iron setup. I've now got this wood burning device for actual pyrography. It's got these little wire tips that you can exchange, and they let you do all sorts of nifty stuff. This one also heats up much faster. So yeah, that's a little update on the dice. But now I need to clear all of this away so we can get painting. Now with these long snouts, I already did some airbrushing and wash before, and now I'm highlighting back up. And what I'm thinking about here is when you paint a single color, like just painting greenskin, you want to introduce some hue shifts, so the shadows are a bit cooler. They've got sort of a bluish tone in them. And then for the highlights, I'm mixing in more yellowish greens. And that will create a much more interesting look than if it were just a simple value shift from like dark green to light green, right? So you want to think about these things if you want to spice up your colors a little bit. Otherwise, your minis might end up looking a little bit like picture books or cartoons. The other shift I'm introducing here is I'm glazing some flesh tones for the lips and a little bit around the noses, and also at the sort of soft, fleshy inner parts of the hands and some of the fingers. And I'm going pretty free form with this. I'm thinking about where that sort of little shift might be interesting. And then for the inner ears as well, I'm adding some purplish, pinkish wash. This is Carabert Crimson by Citadel. And doing some very extreme highlights around the lips because I want those mouths to really be a focal point, as well as the toes and the fingers and the eyes. Doing some base coats on the bases, and they're already looking pretty good at this stage. Like the skin is pretty much almost finished now. So I can focus on doing all of those lovely cloth bits and those really interesting period accurate clothing and armor details down the line. But first, I want to just refine some of those highlights a little bit. So going in with sort of an almost off-white, very light yellowish green color, and placing some final highlights just on like the sharpest points here. And here I got my finished model and just did a little comparison. And I thought it looked good, so I went ahead and did the last dry brush on the base. And then when I had that last color on my palette, I also used that to base coat all of the fingernails and the toenails and the teeth and the eyes on all of these models. A step like that always lets you see kind of what it's going to look like in the end, and it helps me stay motivated. Now I'm adding some red on some choice details, some of the cloth and this banner. And then I'm also going to base coat all of the metal parts, well not most of the metal parts, with this blue-green color, and this will be sort of the base for my verdigris. I then sponge on, or dry brush on, some of this, I think it's called decayed metal, and then follow that with some lighter dry brushes of some copper and gold tones to do all of the metal bits, all of the, well, the bronze bits. Followed by some other base coats, so I decided to go with the same colors I used on my other orcs. So I've got a sort of desaturated blue here, I've got a red, I've got that burgundy, and those are my main sort of colors for most of the details. And then the rest will be neutrals, so we've got the neutral sort of silver that we're going to paint some of the weapons with, and then these browns, which are just like warm neutral colors. And for this fur detail, I like to do the sort of ombre gradient look where you've got sort of a warmer brownish middle and then you go towards a lighter edge, like on this model there. I use Rhinox hide for all of the leather details, and then just more off-whites and sort of well, khaki colors for parchment and ropes and all of those sort of things. This was really fun detail to paint because there's lots of interesting angles and layers going on here. These helmets are really cool. I talked to the sculptor and he was explaining to me that these were like period accurate boar tusk helmets that people in this day and age would have worn. So those are made from the actual boar tusks. And he had some really cool historical pictures that I used as reference to see how those were sort of painted. All of the wood gets highlighted. This is a very meticulous step and there's lots of like cleaning up in between to make that look sort of straight and narrow. You want to just take your time with those things. Now with this blue, you'll see in the end, I don't know, leave a comment in the end and tell me if you think I took this too far, because I actually like how it looks right now, but I think in the end, maybe it's like a little bit too saturated, maybe like a little bit unnatural. I don't know. I like the stripes here. I think it looks good on the stripes, but maybe the sort of collar bit is a little bit too much. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. I think I did a good job highlighting it. I just don't know if the color is maybe a little bit too much. Like maybe it looks just a bit unrealistic. I don't know. I know blue is like a rare pigment historically, but this is fantasy, so, you know, they could have access to all kinds of like monster meat to make their paints. I don't know. Maybe they've got like crazy bugs they crush or some plant that we don't have. Highlighting up all of these cloth parts, I'm trying to do sort of a mix of like a volumetric highlight and an edge highlight. So first off, cleaning up the base coats after the wash and then doing the first step of highlights, I focus on the top facing surfaces and do a little bit more of a broad, larger volumetric highlight. And then I go in with very light contrasting colors to do those edge highlights and make those details pop. And this is a style that I really enjoy. I think it looks really nice when you do it right, and it's sort of tricky to get right. So I'm still learning, and I think there's parts of these models where I did it really well, and there's parts where I could definitely improve. I think, like I said, those sort of collar bits, I don't know what they're called, but those cloth pieces around their necks and their shoulders, I think I could have done maybe a better job with those, make them a little bit more volumetric, maybe darker towards the bottom, and focus less on those edge highlights. But the legs, I'm really happy with. This hood, I think, looks really good, the sort of executioner's style hood that this guy's got. And with these fur details as well, it was really fun just going in and highlighting each and every little strand of hair, getting lighter towards the outer edges because I want to accentuate the wet blend that we did before. Now I've got all of these little rope details, and like with the teeth and the toenails, I think once you add those little contrasting sort of detail bits, it starts to really come together because areas aren't blending in with each other as much anymore. Same with these grayish stripes. Once you add those final little light gray and white highlights on there, it starts to really pop and look put together. But you want to be sparing with this. If you do too many white highlights on a light gray base coat, it starts to look sort of, I don't know, like the base coat is maybe a little bit too dark, and then you have to do a lot of work to make it look right again. These sleeves, these striped sleeves, I'm really proud of these. This is all freehand, and I'm really happy with how those came out. I think it's really convincing the way the light plays off those folds. And I have to commend the sculptor for that, because the sculpting, those folds are just so nice. Really nice detail to work with. And it's really fun when you have something like that on a model where you can just kind of like try some different techniques and go crazy with it. But if you were to put on like a contrast paint or a wash, that would look great as well. You don't have to do like a crazy technique on these. Overall, what I really appreciate about these models is that they're sort of, I don't know, like maybe it sounds a bit tacky, but it's like Games Workshop level of detail. And I just really find that I enjoy painting that. So it's detailed and sharp and sort of semi-realistic in places, but it is exaggerated and sort of simplified enough that it's fun to paint. And like dry brushing will work really well with these models, and washes will work really well. And so I just find, like, compared to some other 3D printed miniatures I've painted, that this is like a really nice, balanced experience. I just enjoy painting these sorts of models, and I'm sure you have like similar experiences where some models are just more fun to paint than others. Sometimes the details are like too small, and here they're just right. Now with this little piece of parchment, I wasn't sure what to put on there, but I thought doing a little wanted poster would be really fun, and so I did a little freehand text on there, and then for the actual wanted sort of portrait, I decided to paint the Longsnout's logo. I would like to take a quick second to thank the members of the channel. Becoming a member helps me fund these projects and buy the miniatures and tools and paints that I need in order for you to have the viewing experience that you're having right now. And you also get something back. You get exclusive members only videos. I recently recorded a new one. I'm editing that right now. And also you get to join our members exclusive Discord, which is a ton of fun. There's a lot of us just on there chilling, sharing our hobby projects with each other. And I do like polls on there for voting on like video topics and thumbnails and stuff like that. So if you're into like a behind the scenes vibe and you want to just hang out with us, and you'd also like to support the channel while doing so, consider becoming a member. It would really help out the channel, and I would appreciate it so much. Now back to the video. It is done! 6 brand new Longsnout Orcs painted and ready for use in D&D and any other game. It ended up taking like 3 or 4, like almost 4 full days of work to get these painted. I know at the start of this, I was very optimistic. I said maybe we would do it in like 1 or 2 days. It's been a lot of painting. Luckily, it's Easter right now, so I've got a lot of free time. So that's what I did with that. Now, 6 models painted is a real dent in the backlog that is my shelf with painted and primed minis to score. All right. I know for a fact if I hadn't made this conscious decision to start tackling that, those Longsnouts would have never gotten painted. You know, now I've got 6 more orcs that I can use in a game, and I'm not just staring at like a bunch of green airbrushed orcs in my shelf every day that I walk past there. Oh, I'm kind of nervous about how this will be received, and if like views are gonna tank completely while I'm doing this. But fret not. This is not the only thing I'll be doing on the channel. Got a little package here that I just received in the mail, so I'll be opening that up. And also, I've been meaning to like reorganize all of my grass tufts, and I thought I'd maybe show you some of that and share some of my thoughts of like how I like to organize my tools. Maybe talk about my favorite hobby tools. Is that something you'd be interested in? Please let me know. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed these orcs and maybe you got inspired to paint some of your own. What hobby projects have just been sort of standing around on your desk waiting to be painted for weeks, months, or even years? Let me know. I'd love to hear it down in the comments. I am really tired and I've got to edit like 3 videos now, so thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.